settle into our yoga studios, getting yourself into a comfortable seated position. Coming back to your breath. Notice how your chest rises and falls as you take a breath. Softening your eyes and tuning into your body, noticing how you're feeling. Noticing how you're feeling physically. And noticing how you're feeling mentally. Welcome. Nice to see you all taking the time for yourselves today. Today is International Yoga Day. It's held on the solstice and it celebrates physical, mental and spiritual practice of yoga, which originated in India. And the theme of yoga for this year is Yoga for Wellness, which is really relevant for our times with a global society recovering from COVID-19. So as we move through our practice today, notice that you are celebrating that Global International Yoga Day. We're going to start off with a little bit of pranayama breathing. We've done this before. It's where we breathe through alternate nostrils, and it helps to balance out our nervous system. Breathing through one side of our nostril is around the fight and flight, and breathing through the other side is very calming. So we breathe through both sides of our nostrils to really bring our body into a more calmer state. So we'll start off with your right fingers, and we're just going to bring them up to our nose. So we'll have our first finger and our thumb. And we're going to sit up nice and tall. So we've got a nice tall spine, and place the pointing finger, this finger, over the left nostril and have the thumb just off your face. So we're going to inhale through the right side and then cover the right nostril with your thumb, and then exhale through the left side. Then inhale through the left, cover the left, and exhale through the right. So that's one full cycle. So continuing on, so inhale through the right, and then cover the right, open the left, exhale through the left, and then inhale through the left, cover that up, and exhale through the right. So continue on at your own pace, just balancing out your breath. Really focusing on how your body's feeling and how you're actually doing this. Balancing out our nervous system, calming the body. Let's do one full cycle. And then taking your hand away from your face. Keeping your eyes nice and soft, just taking a few more breaths here. And notice how you're feeling. Notice how you're feeling in your physical body and also how you're feeling mentally. Grounding yourself and balancing out your nervous systems. Let's take 4 more breaths. And last 2. And last breath. Just start to move your shoulders, doing some little circles, rolling your shoulders from front to back. And then rolling them the other way from back to front. And then taking your arms into bigger circles. As you're doing your practice today, remember to pay attention to how you're feeling. And it's all about our physical, mental, and spiritual body. And we're always different. And pay attention to how you feel. Do only what your body wants to do today. It's okay to have a rest, especially if you haven't done any yoga for a while. So Elsa, just take your time and rest if you need to. And Caroline as well, if you haven't done any yoga for a while, just take it easy. Let's go from side to side, getting a little twist in our body. And then coming back to center, placing the right hand on the ground, bring the left hand over the top, stretching through the side of our body. So inhale as you lift your head to center and exhale as you bring your arm over the top. A nice stretch through the side. And then let's come to tabletop position, onto our hands and knees. Opening up our hands, placing the knees underneath the hips. As we inhale, we're going to lift our chest and lower our belly button towards the mat. So we've got a nice curve in our back. And as we exhale, lift our belly button up and stretching through the back, arching the back up and stretching through the shoulders and the neck. And then inhale, lift the chest. Continue on, just moving with your breath, opening up the spaces between your vertebrae and warming up your body. Just keeping your eyes soft and focusing on your breath. Let your breath initiate the movement. Let's do a few more rounds. It's getting lots of movement into your spine. Really getting a nice arch in the back and stretching through the shoulders and neck. And then coming back to center and take your knees a little wider and bring your buttocks down to your heels and walk your hands forward into a child's pose. Bringing your forehead down towards the mat. Just taking some breaths here. Each time you exhale, surrender into the pose a little more. Bring your forehead down so it's almost touching the mat or touching the mat. Relaxing your shoulders. Connecting with the stretch through the shoulders and the lower back. Coming back to the breathing. Just take a big breath in and then the lion's breath out, opening your mouth. 2 more of those. Big breath in and lion's breath out. And one more. And then bringing your chest up, taking it forward into an upward dog. And then exhale back into child's pose. Just moving through this flow. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, come back to child's pose. Moving with your breath. Starting to feel the lower back and the spine warm up and become a little bit more movable. And then tucking the toes under, coming back to tabletop and lifting the hips up into downward dog and walking your heels down to the mat. Stretching out the back of your legs. And for this one, Deb, if your shoulders are a little bit sore, you can always do it off the side of that chest of drawers, just to take a bit of weight off your shoulders, just depending on how you feel. And then coming back down to the knees, lifting up the chest into upward dog. And then exhale, bring your hips back up into downward dog. So we're opening up the flow a little more. So you can bring your knees to the ground for your upward dog, or you can keep your knees up, just depending on how you feel. If you want to take your knees off the ground, roll over the toes. But it's okay just to go to your knees as well into a half upward dog. Let's do 2 more rounds. And last one. And then come back to tabletop. We're going to take the right foot forward and place it next to your right hand into a lizard pose. So you can stay here and keep the left knee on the ground, or you can lift the left knee off, coming up into a little bit higher pose, feeling a nice stretch through the left hip. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then dropping the left knee down to the mat, bringing the right foot back, and then switching to the other side. So bring the left foot forward next to the left hand. And you can stay here, just take your body forward or take the right knee off the ground, up to you. This is the lizard pose. It's to open up through the hips. Let's just take a couple of breaths here. And then bring the right knee back down to the ground, coming back to tabletop. And we're going to lift up into plank. And then come up into downward dog. Stretching out the back of the legs again. And then walking your feet a little wider and walk your hands up to your feet. So you come into a forward bend. Let your head fall heavy and your chest fall heavy. Resting your palms on the ground. Taking some breaths here and coming back to our breath. Really connecting with that stretch through the lower back and through the back of the legs. Taking some big deep breaths here. Surrendering in the pose, allowing the crown of your head to point down to the earth. Checking in with yourself physically and mentally. On your next inhalation, slight bend in the knees and come up Bring your hands all the way up into mountain pose. Really stretching the body. And let's just take it from side to side. And then bring your hands back to the heart center. Take a couple of breaths here. Just coming back to how you're feeling, checking in. And then we'll come to the back of the mat and we'll move through a warrior sequence. Let's turn the left foot out slightly and step forward with the right foot. We're going to bend the right knee, align our right heel with our left arch, bring the hips and the shoulders forward. As we inhale, we're going to lift both our arms up, lift our chest and our gaze, looking up towards the ceiling, taking some breaths here, and notice the stretch through the left hip. Imagine you're holding up a beach ball and you're lifting it up, raising the gaze, raising the chest, holding that ball up nice and high. And then take the right hand forward, left hand back into warrior two. Really lengthening through the hands, feeling that stretch through the chest. And then bringing both hands down towards the ground. If you have a block, you can place the block next to your right foot and place your right hand on it. Lengthen out the right leg and lift your left hand up into triangle pose. And connect with the stretch through the back of the right leg and through the chest. Just take a couple more breaths here. And then as you exhale, bring the left hand down to the mat and then take both hands behind you, clasp them behind you, and then lift up the chest and lift up the hands into humble warrior. One more breath here. And then release your hands and come back up to standing and bring your right foot back. Give your legs a little shake. And then we'll take it to the other side. So we're going to step forward with the left foot. Check your alignment of your left heel and your right arch. Having your hips and shoulders facing forward. Inhale, lift your arms, raise your chest, raise your gaze. Connect with the stretch through the right hip. Imagine you're holding that beach ball up nice and tall. Taking two more breaths here. And then take the left hand forward, right hand back, and stretching out through the hands, squeezing the shoulder blades, keeping the left knee bent. Feeling that stretch through the chest and the shoulders. And then bring the left hand down next to the left foot. If you have your block, you can place it next to your left foot, lengthening out your left leg. And inhale, lift the right hand up towards the ceiling and looking up towards the right hand. Feel that nice stretch through the back of the left leg and bring in the right hand up in the air. Bring it back to behind you a little more so you feel a little stretch through the chest. Taking two more breaths here. And then release the right hand down to the mat. Being both hands behind you, clasping them, and then lift up through the chest into humble warrior. Just taking a couple breaths here. One more breath. And then release your hands and come back up to standing. And then bring your feet sideways on the mat and come into a bent knee position. This is into goddess pose. And we're going to bring our hands up to cactus. And bring our elbows forward. And as we inhale, bring them back out. squeeze. It's going in and out with your breath. Nice and strong through the legs. Keeping your chest up nice and tall. Just giving some nice movement in your shoulders. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then straighten your legs out. Bring your hands down to the mat and heel toe your feet out a little wider. And point the crown of your head down to the mat. Place your palms underneath you. At this point, you can actually even put the block underneath your crown of your head if you wish. And just coming into this forward bend, lengthening out the legs, coming back to the breath, and resting in this position. When we're in inversions like this, it's really great for our immunity. It helps to reverse the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. It's calming the body down, boosting our immunity. Continue to breathe, just focus on your breathing. Let's take 4 more breaths here. Nice and calming. 2 more breaths. And then lift your head and lengthen out your spine, giving that spine a nice stretch. And then heel toe your feet a little closer together. And coming up to standing, bring your hands to heart center. Softening your eyes. I'm just going to change this a little bit. Okay. Let's go into a couple of balance poses now. We're going to do our tree pose, just moving your hips in a circle, connecting with the 3 corners underneath your feet, the 3 pillars, one underneath the heel and then underneath both, behind the big toe and the little toe. We're going to start on the right foot, so spreading the right toes and picking up the left foot, placing the toes on the ground next to your right foot, and bring your hands to heart center. Now you can lift the foot up next to your calf or above your knee, not next to the knee. It's coming into a nice balanced position. Find yourself a gazing point, just a couple of meters ahead. And relax into the balancing pose. If you feel you need to put your toes back down, you can. Just settling down the breathing, getting yourself nice and balanced. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And last breath. And then release the left foot to the ground and give both legs a little shake. And then we'll go to the other side. So spreading the left toes and just move your hips in a little circle so you're in touch with the ankle points underneath the left foot. Bring the right toes to the ground and place the heel just on the side of your left leg. Bring your hands back to heart center and then bring the right foot up to where it's comfortable for you. Turning the knee out a little bit. finding your gazing point or your drishti point, and just relax into the pose, calming the body, calming the breath. It's okay if you need to put your foot down. Let's take 4 more breaths here. Keeping that knee out to the side. And 1 more breath. And then release the right foot to the ground. Give both legs a little shake. And let's take it into 1 more little pose here. This is our dancer pose we do sometimes. So we're going to bend our left knee and bring our left hand and our left foot together. And as we take a breath, we're going to inhale and kick our left foot back and take our right hand forward into dancer pose, noticing the stretch through the back of the left thigh. And then release, bring it down, and then we'll take it to the other side. So lifting up, bending the right knee, bringing the right hand and foot together. Find your drishti point, bring your knees together, and then inhale, kick back the right foot and bring the left hand forward. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Really feel that nice stretch, lifting the chest. And then release. Well done, ladies. Good job. Okay, let's come down to the mat now. Laying on our back. We're going to go into a reclining pigeon pose. So we're going to lay on our back with our knees bent. And bring our left leg across the front of the right. And then reaching your hands either to the left leg or through the legs to the right thigh or shin. And then relaxing your shoulders and your head back down to the mat. And coming into this quite a deep stretch on the left glute. It's a great stretch to release any tension you may have in your lower back. So tuning back into your breath. And with each exhalation, you might squeeze a little more. Softening your eyes. Just taking your time with this long, deep stretch. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then release your hands. Allow your right foot to come back down to the mat. And then switch over to the other side. So bending the right knee up, bringing the right leg across the front of the left. And then either hug the right leg towards your chest, or you can reach through to the left shin or the left thigh. And then relax your shoulders and head back onto the mat. And come into this nice reverse pigeon pose, really giving us a deep stretch through the right glute. Taking some breaths here. Coming back to your breath. Each exhalation, squeezing in a little tighter. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then release your hands and then hug both knees into your chest and do some little circles on your lower back. Taking some nice deep breaths and then roll the circle the other direction. Releasing any tension in your lumbar spine. And then bringing your feet to the mat. Taking your hands into a cactus position, dropping both knees to the left and gazing to the right. Coming into a nice twist on the lower back. Keeping your shoulders flat on the ground so you feel a little stretch through the chest as well. Taking a couple more breaths. And then on the next inhalation, bring the knees back to center. And exhale, take them to the right, look to the left. Feel a nice stretch through the lower back, nice twist in the lower spine. Taking a couple of breaths here, keeping the shoulders nice and flat so you feel the stretch across the chest. One more breath. And then inhale, bring knees to center. Walking your heels a little closer to your buttocks and bringing your hands down beside you, arms beside you. We're going to do some bridge poses. So as we inhale, we're going to lift up through the hips, squeeze our buttocks, push through the heels, bring the chest up towards the chin, and then bring your arms over your head to the floor behind you. And then as you exhale, slowly lower your spine down like it's a bike chain and bring your hands back overhead next to you by your side. And then continue on to go with the flow. As you inhale, you're lifting up. Bring your hands over, really pushing the hips up, squeezing the buttocks. And then slowly lowering it. Just moving with your breath. Continue on for a few more breaths. Feeling a nice stretch through the lower core area. You might like to walk your heels a little closer to your buttocks. As you inhale, lift up high as you can, pushing through the heels, squeezing the glutes. Bring the arms over and then slowly lowering it down. Let's take 4 more rounds. Slide your feet a little closer again. Last 2 rounds. So your heels are nice and close to the buttocks to give you maximum lift, maximum squeeze. And then bring your lower back to the ground. Bring your hands by your side. Bending your knees and bringing them up to your chest. Reaching in between your legs to the outside of your foot and lifting the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling into happy baby. Flattening out the lower back. And just rocking from side to side or going into a circle or stay still, whatever feels right for you. Softening your eyes and coming back to your breath. You might like to use your elbows to push out your knees a little bit to increase the stretch through the groin area. Just relaxing into the pose and come back to your breathing. Just take 4 more breaths here. Slowing down the breathing. And then last breath here. Release your hands. Allow your feet to come back down to the mat with your knees bent. And then from here, we're going to do our legs up position. So you might like to have your legs up next to a wall or a cupboard, whatever you have, or you can place a bolster or block underneath your lower back, coming into a supported stand, whatever feels right for you today. So lifting up into that legs up in the air position. Just doing some gentle circles with your ankles. So coming back to the inversion again. So helping to boost the immunity and reversing the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. You might like to take your feet in circles, going out and then back the other way. Taking your feet wide. Coming back to your breathing, nice deep breaths. And then bring the soles of your feet together with your knees out wide. And then taking your feet back up nice and tall again. And if you're in a shoulder stand, you might like to bring the feet over your head into plow pose. Taking a few more breaths here. Notice how you're feeling, how your body's feeling physically and mentally. Comparing that to how you felt at the beginning of the session. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Connecting with the energy of the earth. And then on your next inhalation, gently bringing your legs back down to earth and coming into Savasana, laying on your back. You might like to have a bolster under your knees to give you some more comfort for your lower back. If you have a blanket, you might like to put that over yourself or an eye pillow. And the next 5 minutes or so, we're just going to relax in Savasana, enjoying all the energy that we've cultivated in our yoga practice today. Make sure you're nice and warm. Softening your eyes and enjoy the relaxation, restoring your energy and your immunity, balancing your physical body, your mind and your spirit. Taking a little bit of time to restore your energy and restore your mental balance. When you perform yoga, you establish a connection between your body and your mind and become more aware of yourself.
Good.
Elsa and
Hi,
Caroline
Elsa.
today.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you,
I'm
Jen.
feeling great.